Well, yeah, I'm in the studio, guys, back again with another video. Today we're reacting to AniRecaps. King marries a girl who can control the weather. Let's get into it, guys.
There is a man who conquered the world. Throughout the lands and across the seas, his name is the symbol of terror for the people. This young man starts off as the king of the Sun Kingdom, and then in just 3 years, he manages to conquer the entire world. Now he's essentially the king of the world. Though with great power comes great responsibility, and as far as the average man goes, they think that the Sun King is a cold, heartless tyrant. He's a monster and everyone's worst nightmare.
A monster.
In the distant horizon, there's a land called the Rain Kingdom. It's a kingdom that may not be as well off as the Sun Kingdom, but it acts as its direct foil. While in the Sun Kingdom, it's always sunny and some people aren't even aware that rain is a thing. The Rain Kingdom, on the other hand, always has—
Wait, so they don't know what rain is? So if water just fell out the sky, they wouldn't know what to do?
grayish cloudy weather. Furthermore, the inhabitants of the Rain Kingdom have the supernatural power to cause rain through the use of their voice.
What?
Sounds like that time I visited London. The Sun King was aware of this ability, and as the tyrant he's rumored to be, he decides to marry one of the princesses from the Rain Kingdom. He gives them a decree, allowing them to continue as an autonomous kingdom as long as they let him marry one of the princesses. Naturally, the 4 beautiful princesses of the Rain Kingdom are aware of the rumors about the Sun King.
Okay, yeah, those girls are just too explicit. Her boobs about to plop all out.
That excited about becoming the king's bride, especially since the reason he's asked for them is because of their ability to cause rain. And so the 4 sisters decide to play rock, paper, scissors to decide who will be sent off to the Sun Kingdom.
And this, they don't even care about getting to know each other. They like, shoot, if you got one thing I like, I want you. We getting married. First day.
Youngest princess, named Nike, loses and sets out to the Sun Kingdom. She's prepared herself for the worst, considering how the king doesn't really have a nice reputation. Just like that, she reaches the shore of the Sun Kingdom. It's nighttime, but the city is bustling. Things don't go as smoothly as one would expect. Her stuff gets stolen by random—
They just gonna knock her down like that? Like they don't see her? All them people around.
Ugly burglars. Plus, the locals are looking down on her for belonging to a less prestigious kingdom. It's not a pleasant situation, but then a kind and wonderful family helps her out with her situation and even gives her shelter for the night. They are genuinely wholesome. However, things still don't settle down yet. The older one of the 2 sisters of this family gets abducted for no good reason. Nike obviously is going to resolve the situation.
She got adopted, so where did they take her?
In order to pay the family back for this kindness. And so she uses her control over the weather to destroy the gross kidnappers and then even forces them to take her all the way to the palace. Finally, Nike is at the palace of the Sun Kingdom. She's resolved and has already prepared herself for the worst. But the moment she finally lifts her head in the king's presence to see his appearance, the girl is just shocked out of her living daylights. This was not what she had expected. In fact, no one would expect the king of the world to just be a young child. That's right, folks, the Sun King named Livius is only an 11-year-old young boy.
Dang,
Nike
he that young? Only 11? And he okay, so he chose her to marry her.
And is around 15 years old, so they're both essentially still too young to be king or queen of the world. Anyway, after the shock subsides and the Sun King Livius realizes that the young girl in his presence is the princess from the Rain Kingdom, he arrogantly orders her to bring forth the rain simply for the sake of his amusement. Now Nike is a
no wonder why he just wants to marry her just because of the rain. He's only 11.
Young woman. She wasn't just going to oblige the king's command, especially considering how he appears to be a young, arrogant child. She gets kind of agitated at how she's being used merely for the sake of amusement, and starts stretching his cheeks. She then tells him that her powers aren't as straightforward as he makes them out to be. She can't just summon the rain unless she particularly feels the beauty of the world. Only experiencing the inherent beauty of the world, of its people, and feeling it, she can bring forth the rain. Now, the king wasn't a very poetic guy, to say the very least. He takes Nike's words literally and asks the staff to prepare plenty of things for her. There's a number of beautiful yet elegant dresses, and a luxurious dining course is also prepared.
I just gotta say, where's his parents at, though?
Nike tells him that by the beauty of the world, she meant by nature surrounding them. But as expected, it's really hard for the king to understand. Another quirky antic leads to her coming to an important realization regarding the king. Looks like Livius is a boy who isn't able to see the inherent beauty of the world. It was still the start of their relationship, but by learning more about Livius, Nike began to instinctively feel closer to him, and she vows to show him that the world is still beautiful. Little did she know, a ton of dramatic
At
scenarios
least she can show him something new and, help him.
were about to get in the way of her and the king. She's with Livius trying to convey the beauty of the world when an arrow is shot at them. Its target is Livius and it's a planned assassination attempt, but Nike instinctively reacts and gets in between the arrow and Livius, hence in turn
Wow, and they really trying to get rid of this kid though. They like, they don't even care how young he is. They trying to get rid of him.
protecting him. She is shot in his stead, but fortunately, the arrow didn't hit any of the vital organs. However, this sudden turn of events bewilders Livius. Their safety is now no longer guaranteed, at least for the moment. He makes the decision to send Nike away on a protected carriage for the time being. But as she is on the way, the castle, especially Livius's room, is lit on fire. The scale of the assassination attempt was much
So where's Livius?
larger than before, and if something wasn't done quickly, Livius was going to get caught up in the fire sooner or later. Nike gets out of the carriage and sprints all the way back to the castle. Right then, in that very moment, there was a
But she about to go save him. She not about to let him die.
dire need for her powers.
So?
The new iPhone 14 Pro. It's amazing.
Yep, the camera's incredible. And you'll get our best deal.
And so, she
about to
summons
make that rain
without the
come.
fire. The entire castle is soaked, but Livius is all right. He gradually opens his eyes and witnesses a beautiful spectacle. It's a rainbow that appeared after Nike's rain, and seeing it, the Sun King just couldn't help but smile. Following this, an event takes place at the castle where Nike is
He kissed her? So she kissed an 11-year-old. What?
to be formally presented as Livius's soon-to-be wife. Plenty of officials in
Wow.
big positions and nobles come to this party. In fact, a few nobles from another kingdom confront Nike in a garden. It's that class-based elitism. They aren't acknowledging her because her kingdom is inferior to the Sun Kingdom. Though before Nike is forced into feeling inferior, Livius himself shows up at the scene and actively insults those nobles for insulting Nike. Not just that, he then proceeds to rest in that garden by using Nike's lap as a pillow. It's quite a cute and pleasant moment, if I must say so myself. Nike realizes that Livius is obviously quite tired. He might only be 11 years old, but the young man is quite diligent when it comes to diplomatic matters and other work. She tells him not to burden himself so much, and
Yeah, so she probably thinking, this is the guy that I probably might want to marry for real. Shoot.
that he should start resting more. But the king somehow feels irritated because of her telling him not to work so much, and so it ends in a sudden argument. From Nike's perspective, she was just trying to care for his health, but since it ended in an argument, she's emotionally hurt and wonders if Livius doesn't really care about her. Later, when she's in her room, Nike recalls her mother while
I mean,
seeing
in this situation, it's kind of hard because the kid's only 11, so what do he know about really being in a relationship for all that matter?
a song. She also thanks the maids who are always decorating her room with beautiful flowers, but they sincerely tell her that it's the king himself who picks these flowers for her every day. Honestly, this is one of the most wholesome animes I think I've ever seen.
Wow.
Nike is embarrassed, and although she calls him an idiot, she also knows that this is a testament to how Livius does indeed care for her, just like how she cares for him. Meanwhile, the party was still in full bloom, and everyone was waiting for the princess to show herself. Livius was getting anxious by this point because Nike still hadn't shown up at the scene, but his diligent butler named Neil asks the king to have some faith in the girl he has chosen to be his bride. Just like that, a song echoes through the hall as Nike herself enters while
Right, because Nike came through. Look at her, looking gorgeous.
enveloped in rose petals that are then dispersed throughout the hall, using her prowess to control the wind. It is a beautiful sight. Nike smiles, looks at Livius, and then promptly shows her appreciation for all the guests who attended the event. She then proceeds to capture everyone's attention once again by summoning the rain and then singing in its glory. Everything was now going smoothly. But then, the Ministry of Priesthood decided to butt into the love between these two. Now, since they also have the job of reckoning who gets to marry into the royal family, their opinion is supposed to be important. And well, they decide to cancel their engagement for the same old superficial reason. They say that she comes from a not-so-prosperous kingdom and doesn't have the right to marry the Sun King. Of course, neither the king nor his queen back down. Both Nike and Livius remain resolute
And what the king say goes, okay?
at the fact that they will get married to each other. Seeing this, the ministry suggests that Nike proves herself as a woman worthy of becoming the queen by taking on a ritualistic challenge called Rite of Illumination. The idea is for her to enter an ancient cave and then reach a temple. In that temple, she'll find a ring. That'll be her present to the king as his wedding ring. The king wasn't so keen on her taking this challenge. He even tells her that so far, none of the princesses have ever managed to prove themselves through this ordeal. None of them were even able to come back alive. Well, there's a reason why none of them succeeded in proving themselves. It's because the game is rigged. Anyway, Nike enters the cave and is on her way to find that ancient ring. But it doesn't take long before she's swiftly surrounded and cornered by the members of that ministry. It is
So what she gonna do? Make it rain?
that they reveal that important secret about the Rite of Illumination. It isn't a challenge for the princess to prove themselves. No, it's simply a tool for the ministry to purge the princesses whom they deem unworthy of being the king's bride. For several centuries, they've continued to kill princesses this way. Unfortunately, this ministry was soon going to take
Dodging
their
them,
first
though.
big, fat L. Livius was also there, tailing Nike just to make sure that she didn't get herself killed. Together with him, Nike manages to escape through a secret tunnel that only the king knew about. Nike makes it through the night, still alive. And before long, their engagement ceremony takes place.
That's how he knows she's worthy.
Though not only did they not retrieve any kind of ancient ring from that cave, neither Livius nor Nike prepared any other ring either. And now that engagement ceremony is taking place in real time, there's no ring. This was when Nike came up with a beautiful idea to add some genuine color to the ceremony. She uses her prowess to summon a white rainbow that is circling around the sun in the shape of a perfect ring. Since, Livius is supposed to be the Sun King and all, this was a magical and truly beautiful spectacle, both in the literal and metaphorical sense. But then, someone tries to ruin the moment by convicting the king of going against the law. As it turns out, the king isn't supposed to step into that cave. However, by trying to reveal the king's crime, the man foolishly also revealed that they were going to murder the princess. Then it was about time that the assassins were executed for their crime. But Nike states that it's better to forgive them.
That was their plan, and their plan failed.
And so they are forgiven. The leader of these assassins sheds tears out of nothing for Nike's kindness, and also ends up stating that Livius has grown into a better king because of her. Finally, the ceremony ends with both Nike and Livius formally recognized as an engaged couple. Which also means that it was finally time to bring a love rival into the story, because things just can't end without endless drama. What happens is that the childhood friend arrives. Her name is Luna. She is from the Ocean Kingdom, as well as the girl who is Livius' self-proclaimed fiancée. Though the rivalry is that the king thinks she's annoying and can't recall a single instance where he asked her to marry him. Well, anyway, Luna's days as Nike's supposed rival begin, and unexpectedly enough, she is able to beat Nike at pretty much everything. Nike is, of course, also bothered by this, but not as much as Luna. The following day, she once again challenges Nike. This time, it's a game of chicken. For those who don't know, it's actually a...
Dang, they're in deep competition. What, do she want to be with the king or something?
Surprisingly esteemed model of conflict between two players presented by Game Theory. Sorry. It's really interesting. Just Google the game of chicken if you're interested. Anyway, in this game, both of them would be racing with their horses. If you stop, you lose the game. But if you don't stop, you may fall from the horse, since it's the same path and both are coming at each other. Nike gives her the green light and the game between them begins. Things happen and Luna ends up falling. She realized that she can't really compare to Nike's love for Livius. Fortunately, Nike saves Luna by summoning the wing, but ends up exhausted. Luna finally leaves with a
I thought Luna was gone.
positive impression of Nike. As for Nike and Livius, she finally calls the king by his first name, and the way Livius reacts to it is by suddenly catching her off guard with a kiss.
She's kissing an 11-year-old. This is all I can say, guys, because I just remember that he's 11, so I'm just like, that's okay to them.
But the love drama hasn't ended yet. A certain someone returns to the castle. It's Livius' uncle named Bard, and he's someone that our king has hated ever since childhood.
Oh, it's evil?
I mean, he's still in his childhood. Whatever. Uncle Bard...
he trying to take his girl.
Returns back home after traveling the world. His name makes him sound like an uncle, but he's a handsome young man who gets a lot of women. Putting it simply, he's a playboy. And so, he even tries to seduce our girl Nike. In fact, he tries to take her to his room later. There's a lot of tension in the air. Though fortunately, as it turns out, he was just testing Nike's loyalty and had no ill intentions. But as fate would have it, Livius walks into that room.
He was seeing how loyal Nike was going to be to King.
Right as Uncle Bard is over Nike in the bed. The king is furious and he's about to personally torture his uncle to death, for that is his punishment for adultery. Nike, on the other hand, is grounded in her room, but she couldn't just leave the situation considering how Uncle Bard
so he can ground Nike?
Care for his nephew. So she sneaks out of the room, frees Uncle Bard, and then gets Livius. She then takes the two of them to somewhere silent where they can sort things out. Things end up working out in the end. Livius decides to give Bard his position as the prime minister, and he no longer has feelings of contempt towards his uncle. Uncle Bard
Wow.
accepts the position, but then proceeds to flirt with Nike once again. Unfortunately, the author failed to realize just how unfunny this gimmick would be. And following this, we
Yeah, could do you go get kicked out?
to the final arc of the anime. Nike is kind of not in the element because of a letter she received from the Rain Kingdom. It stated that her grandma is pretty much on her deathbed, but before she dies, she wants to see Nike one more time. She doesn't act because of this letter immediately, because she was supposed to do the rain summoning in front of some noble guests. She brings forth the rain, but Livia states that something's off about this rain. It isn't as thorough or good as Nike's usual rain, and so when she hears Livius pointed out, she finally breaks the silence and tells him what's going on. The king doesn't stall, not even for a moment. Livius, his butler, and Nike immediately set out to the Rain Kingdom. It was a long journey, but when they got there, it turned out that it was all a false alarm. A prank, or maybe I'm exaggerating things. Anyways, Nike's grandmother is okay. They meet her grandmother, and then Livius meets her extraordinarily beautiful sisters. That's not all so bad. However, in the shadows, Nike's grandmother is planning a ploy with another family member named Katora. Their intention is to make sure that Nike doesn't go back to the Sun Kingdom.
Why could Tori look so dark? Like he's a loner or something.
Meanwhile, Livius wasn't as thrilled as Nike's sisters. He was alone, somewhat bored, somewhat down. Nike goes up to him to cheer him up. She shows him rain stars and even makes rice porridge for him. They engage in a nice and sweet conversation. Nike realizes that it's the most wholesome thing ever, and so she suddenly kisses him. Both of them blush from the embarrassment, while that sneaky family member named Katora was watching.
They so cute though. At the same time, she's like what 16 and he's 11. Or 14 and 11. I don't know. It seemed like a big age difference, but when you look at it, it's only like a couple years.
Them from a distance. Later, Katora invites Nike for a conversation, but it turns out to be a convenient trap. She's restrained and then put into a prison so that she can't interfere as they chase the Sun King away. In fact, Nike's grandma is planning on erasing Livius's memories about Nike so that she doesn't have to go back. Little did she know, Livius was also...
Are you kidding me? So he's not gonna remember nothing of her, and she not gonna go back to him.
Onto their ploy. He gets help from one of Nike's sisters and tries to find her, but ends up coming face to face with her grandma. She shows him the keys to Nike's cell, and then right in front of him, she throws those keys into the lake. As you can expect, the young boy jumps into the lake and is swept by a wave right away.
Yeah, because he's thinking like, what are you doing, dude? We gotta save Nike. We gotta get Nike out.
Meanwhile, Nike is trying to desperately break free by repeatedly using body slam on the prison bars. It wasn't very
He's
effective.
not gonna get
She loves
body
Livius,
slammed
and
them
Livius
bars.
loves her. Then, both state that a life and a future without each other would be pointless. It would be like death itself. Back at Nike's prison, it was getting wild. She was effectively destroying her body. Even Katora couldn't just keep looking at her as she destroyed herself. So, he makes the decision to let her go. Nike immediately tries to find Livius. She comes across the sister who helped Livius and is told that her man is currently deep in the lake trying to prove that he has the right to marry her. Nike is emotionally overwhelmed, but she rushes to the scene. Livius is out of the lake, but his body seems to be in a state of a trance. He just isn't waking up. Nike practically kisses him into waking up, and then as the man lifts his arm, the key to Nike's cell can be seen in his hand. Livius had proven himself worthy of marrying Nike. This family matter was complicated.
Oh, yep, it's happening. No family could come between them.
But the situation was resolved peacefully in the end. Nike and Livius change into cleaner clothes and meet Nike's mother, who is also ill. Then in front of the entire principality of the Rain Kingdom, Livius boldly declares that he'll always love and protect Nike. Just like that, Nike, Livius, and his butler return to the Sun Kingdom after also resolving the situation with her grandma and Katora. Though what awaited them back at home wasn't a pleasant sight. Uncle Bard turned out to be a slacker. Not only did he not do any work, but he also ended up inviting plenty of guests, especially dozens
Yeah, you're gonna have to let him go. Kick him out.
of beautiful women. Now Livius has to clean up after him. Days pass by and he still has more work to take care of. During this time, Livius and Nike didn't meet. Not even once. This gradually led to both of them feeling quite lonely. Then, in the fullness of time, Livius and Nike come across each other in a secret place that he had previously shown her. They don't just hide and tell how much they missed each other, and so the world is still beautiful. The anime ends with yet another wholesome kiss between them as they lie down on the grass.
Man, that's so sweet. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be back reacting to more animes. A lot of animes, actually. And I'm out.